So, what is it like to have 5 little kids running around every day?
Ask her.
Crazy.
It's eventful all the time.
Never a dull moment.
I mean, you're constantly keeping track. We always have this system of when we go somewhere, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's like a repetitive thing in our head. That's what we constantly do to keep track of our kids. And when we're home, we can actually let that go a little bit, but.
Yeah, it's always wild, but it's also so rewarding. I mean, like Chase and I just always are laughing and cracking up at what they're doing. It's always something new, or, you know, every age is so fun, and it's also challenging too. Like we go through things that we're like, oh gosh, they're going through this right now. But then sometimes it's just so funny. One of them is doing something hilarious and we're like, oh my gosh, like this is the new thing that they're in. And so, I mean, we literally laugh all the time, all of us.
Yeah, I think that the biggest slap in the face when becoming a parent, actually going back to that, was thinking that the same parenting technique was going to work for every single kid. And we learned that fast after 2 or 3 probably, right?
Yeah.
But each kid requires definitely different type of parenting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the same type of discipline, the same type of teaching, the same type of rewarding does not work the same for them all. Yeah, for sure.
Totally. But, and their personalities are so different. Every one of them, it's just crazy. Like, but they're bond together, and you know, every one of them have like a special bond together, and they're all really close, which is nice.
Yeah, but I agree.
People are always telling us you guys have your hands full, which is true, but I feel like we wouldn't want it any other way.
You have no clue, actually.
Well, we do have
our hands full, but I think like we were like built for this. We were bred for chaos. Like we don't buckle under pressure. I do really well under stressful situations, and so does she. So therefore the effect of living in a house with 5 kids, always, you know, tapping us on the shoulder or screaming mom or screaming dad.
They all need something all the time. It's inevitable they're gonna barge in here any minute and say they want something.
I mean, we have bad days for sure. She'll cry or I'll scream or something. It's definitely never a perfect situation, but it's to me, I go to work every day, you know, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and I still praise Coty for the job that she does, because she has to every day deal with it on a daily basis. Her job does not, it starts when the second she wakes up, and it ends the second the kids go to sleep. I mean, I don't know if you can see the kids in the background, but I can see them in the reflection of the window right now, and they're all trying to sabotage the video because they know we're here being asked these questions right now. But
we're never alone.
Yeah, we're never alone, for sure. So,
but Chase and I always, from like since the moment we met, we always talked about kids, of course. I mean, we were young, but you know, over time we were like, well, how many kids do we want? And I always feel like we always said 4 or 5 kids. Like it was just always 4 or 5 kids. It was never like, oh, maybe 2, 3, we'll see what happens. It was 4 or 5 kids. Like, I mean, I always remember
6
that.
At one point, actually.
Yeah, I mean, but we knew 4 or 5, and then we had Cedar, our 4th, and I was like, I don't think we're done. He's like, okay, we'll have more.
The more of the thought on the 6th, actually after Porter was born, he's our 5th, our 4th boy, our 5th kid. I had set up an appointment to have a vasectomy and tie it up, and I told her, if you want to have 6, you have to tell me now, because I'm going to go get it done. And I ended up actually canceling 2 appointments before I went in and actually had the surgery done. But
I would cry. I'd be like, he's like, you're sure you're done? Like, well, we can have more kids. Are you sure you're done? And I'm like, and I'd start crying, and he'd be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you crying about it? I'm gonna cry right now. But I feel like as a mom, and some moms will relate, I've had people tell me, you know, when you're done, you'll know you don't want to have any more kids. And I just don't. I feel like we definitely feel complete with 5 kids. Like I don't think that I feel like we would have another one, but I just feel like for me, I love being pregnant. I love having kids. I love giving birth. I love all of that, and I love babies. So I feel like I would probably have 20 kids. It's just like, you've got to stop somewhere. And I'm like, we have 5 kids, you know, like we don't have like 2, maybe think about a third, we have 5. So it's kind of like, you've got to stop somewhere, you know. I don't want to be like
I know.
20 kids and counting or something.
I think there's like precious times of being a parent that I think can get lost. Like, I think the biggest fear with families and having more kids is them thinking that the kids aren't going to get an equal share of mom and dad, but that's not the way it goes. Like, your ultimate goal as a parent is to raise these kids right, to love God and others and themselves, right? So when you keep that in mind at all times, I think it kind of just flows naturally, and you're constantly loving on the kids. If that's the thing that you want your kids to have, you're gonna give it to them. And it's not a material thing. It honestly comes down to like loving and how much you can actually show that love to your kids, because you want to see that back from your kids, and you want to see it within each other.
Yeah, they love on each other. Like,
yeah.
We catch them all the time, like loving each other and kissing each other, or giving a hug, or telling each other they love each other. And I'm like, that's kind of what we want, you know. And even before we probably had no business having a lot of kids. Like, we had no money and it was hard times, but I mean, we just knew that we were gonna love them and, you know, give them the best life they could have with us. So, but I mean, people ask us a lot too, like, you know, like, well, does your husband want 5, or why did you both want that many? And I feel like some people just, you know, like, you know, we both wanted that. So I think that's super important to like do what's best for the both of you, or you guys meet in the middle, because there's a lot of people like, I really want another baby, and the other person's like, I just feel like my cup is full and I can't have more kids, like it's just not gonna work out. And I think that you've gotta like compromise with each other, because, you know, it won't work. You can't pour into your kids if you guys can't feel like compatible. And
yeah, I think there's a balance thing with that too. So mom and dad, there's gotta be structure in the house. So Coty is a very sweet, soft-spoken, passive mom, but she's good at disciplining, don't get me wrong, but like for me, it's important that there's somewhat of a fear and respect from the kids. And that way, if we go into public, I can give the kids a look for the most part, or point my finger at them, and they listen and they respect. Or Coty could have a bad day and she can call me like, I'm calling your dad. And then the kids will start straightening up. So that is actually part of a relationship balance with your wife or your kid's mom or dad. So I think there's strong points on both sides. And
it's hard too. I don't always want to be like, make him the bad guy. Like, I'm going to tell your dad, but sometimes.
But sometimes it's just like, we have to both learn to be good on both sides. However, I do understand where my strong point is, right? Yeah. But I think the greatest thing about having kids is like knowing that you're teaching them, you are growing these kids up. So from brushing their teeth to putting on their socks to tying their shoes to, you know, being potty trained to doing their homework to cooking, like literally all these things that they learn come from us. So
working hard, like,
working hard.
Like they see his work ethic and they're like, I want to work with dad, or I want to help him do this, or so that stuff like is, I feel like, really important. Something we definitely like want to teach our kids. I mean, we do everything with them. Yeah. So
that's another thing. Like, a lot of people think because you have a lot of kids that you're restricted on what you can and can't do, and we just don't believe in that. Like,
before COVID, we took all the kids to dinner, like at a restaurant, like everyone, you know, and some people would be like, I would never, like, that's crazy. We just do life with them. I feel like that's kind of teaching them too, to like behave at a restaurant, or, you know, if we go to the store, they need it. I mean, they don't always, but you know, they need to like behave, and, you know, it teaches them, you know, so.
Yeah. I think another thing is like, you'll see in another videos, Coty drives this monstrous van.
Bus.
Yeah, bus. And I always tease her because she has the biggest Mercedes that's on the lot, but not the nicest, but the biggest. But it's funny to see her drive around town with this thing, because honestly, people probably look at her and are just like, what the heck are you guys doing? But the funny thing about it is we do have 5 kids. There's 7 of us in our family. The car seats 12, so each one of our kids could have a friend and we're good to go. So like doing road trips and those kinds of things are no big deal for us. Like we actually enjoy it. And
well, and also another thing that I feel like is crazy, but I always feel like some people I've talked to that they come from a big family, they're like, I don't want to have a big family. And I always think like, I hope my kids will have kids someday and want a big family because it is so cool and fun. And we, you know, we don't want them to be like, well, I wasn't able to do this or that because we had such a big family or, you know, so we're always like, we don't want to like, you know, just because we do have a lot of kids, like, oh, we can't do that because there's too many. I mean, there's some things that we can't really do, but it's rare.
Like
you know what I
going to
mean?
the movies or something like that, but we don't care about
because
that.
the kids are still so young, like the little ones. But I mean, that's also why we had them close together too, is because we're not going to be in the baby stage forever. Like it's not spaced out so far. Like we're literally just going through it together, and then we can go on like big long trips or do stuff like that and things like that. But I mean, we wouldn't want it any other way.
What are you doing, Naughty?
Porta!
Do you need help?
Well, let me help you. Come here.
This is the reality of it. I mean, you can tell them one thing to like keep this as
This isn't even your helmet.
stay outside. We're gonna do this video. This is the reality every day.
Go help.
This is what she deals with.
You want this one on?
So yeah, that's our rant about having 5 kids, and it's actually better than what it looks like on camera. We absolutely love it, and we wouldn't have it any other way.